what it means to do that self-work. That self-work is about self-regulation, self-mastery, making accommodations for your own deficits, building up your skill set so that you're not a parasite on other people that are functional. Yes, human beings should help each other, but help is one thing. What I've discovered a lot of people often look for is someone to do it for them or give it to them. So that work that I've done on myself was because I had to do my metrics on my own personal deficits. I'm a first generation college graduate, right? With that comes a ton of challenges. You have to build your own network. You have to build your own relationships, get out there and make those experiences and have, the generalized anxiety thing, absolutely not. Can't work with it. So I had to functionally really face whatever those circumstances are. Those ghosts, those inadequacy issues, that insecurity, all those things had to be dealt with. And then dealing with the healing from SA, domestic violence, homelessness, teenage homelessness, being, away from parents, dealing with rejection. All of those things, right, had to be dealt with. That's self-work. There's a lot of work that goes with that. And then along my professional growth and experience, right, the education, all those things. And I've lived a life well-examined. So while I was working on these lives and tussling with life in general, it was also necessary to do deep introspection. And to grow oneself and develop self-mastery is not about the gaining of things. See, I can't be validated because I'm self-validated, right? So that sense of self and sense of knowing I am the Buddha, right? That sense of knowing is immovable. And it's been misunderstood by other people because they don't have that thing. See, they acquire things. There are people who are better looking than me, more accolades than me, more social behavior, more social credits than me, more of all the things, more privilege than me. But those are the ones that cower because those are the ones that are gatekeepers in the space and places where I have to go out and be in the spaces trying to build network and build relationship through my integrity, because that's what I had. I got to maximize the little that I have. My integrity, I've always been dependable, reliable. You know exactly where quality is, they come to me. When I need support, they be like, yeah, Nefera got it. But when they need something, my phone was ringing. No, my phone stopped ringing because I stopped answering. You see? But that's self-work. And I also developed in my early 20s this concept of social learning, because while I was working on myself, I'm also working on the environment. So I said, well, what's going on in our environment? So I discovered that we were actually complicit in our own destruction by continuing to not understand social learning and doing the same thing and continuing. That is the definition of insanity. We're expecting different results by doing the same thing, but unfortunately it's not happening. So I'm looking into my society and I'm saying, well, what are the things that I can do? What can be done in our society that would make us passively better? Each man being the best possibility for himself. So when I dealt with my self-mastery journey, that was also the beginning contribution to our social landscape. Because as African people, we consistently have the same behaviors. We consistently share my grandma said, monkey see, monkey do. So that's the thing. That's a nuance in social learning. See, we're going to learn by virtue of being in each other and being exposed to each other, by virtue of being in the environment. So what are we showing each other? What are we teaching each other? The elders wasn't teaching me how to become a fully functional reanimated African, how to be the Buddha, how to have integrity at all times, how to be a person who is consistently reliable, a person who's not leaning on circumstances. Because I talk to people to this day, 2025, and their excuse for shortcoming, their excuse for reneging on what they were supposed to do is somebody else didn't do something. Or because I got a lot of clients. I asked a lady right now, 55 years old, in what customer service world are you able to tell the customer that you're unable to service them because you have other customers? And the woman could only say to me on the phone, you're right. You so right. I'm like, I don't understand this. This is really bizarre to me. I don't understand why you would tell me that and felt like it was okay. I am very bothered by that. Okay? But this comes from this sense of knowing. And also I have 6 brains, the thing I call quick math, that I've developed because I've had to accommodate deficits. I had to accommodate a lack of bandwidth, a lack of support, a lack of resources. So I can take a tiny little grain and make it grand because I have had the exposure, the education, the life well examined, and I have creative references. When I go into my brain and think things, a lot of stuff come up. I realize that some people go in their minds and think things, and because of social link, they have to follow somebody. because things don't show up for them. They start thinking things and nothing happens. Bizarre. It's bizarre to me. But this is when I say I've done a significant amount of work on myself. So looking to other people for the work that they've done on their selves because of social learning, if this work was in our spaces, it would have shown up in the environment already. So this is why I know the impact that I have on any space. I can catalog it this. And these people, they don't recognize it because they haven't cataloged their own deficits. But exactly what they saw, they grappled and they grabbed it and ran with it real quick. Like, I mean, it's the level of work that I've done on myself and dealing with my own journey that I made myself the greatest asset to the whole. It's a good thing that we impact each other and that I have these faculties that others can be, encouraged from. But the issue is it's parasitic. It's not reciprocity. It's not a balanced relationship. And it's not once. It's literally almost 100% of the time. In all experiences, I have experienced this. There's a very small, minute amount of time that I didn't experience this. But nearly 99.99999% of the time, I experienced people who have not done their self-work. Because people are mistaken, because they haven't refined and matured their depth of analysis. That to them, achievement is the social capital, the bells and whistles and trinkets that the Matrix gives you. They have not arrived to self-validation. This is why I don't need anything from anyone to make me, to make me feel whole, to make me be well. All the things and trinkets that I could get from the Matrix are only going to support me in being able to gain more function in the Matrix. And that's the faculty. As a fully functional reanimated African, that's the only thing that it is. Because we've all agreed to participate in a society where you have to pay to live. And that's not my fault. That doesn't mean that I'm invalid. Because I've dealt with traumas and circumstances that the society gave to me that I didn't create myself. That's not okay. So when I say I've done the work, educational work, internal work, I'm talking about Shaolin monk precision work. Seriously. It's about the greatest asset of the whole. And I know that there's not a real balance in our society that actually gives us the metrics as to what it is. So most of us think that if we get the things, the cars, the titles, the stuff, that gives us worth. That's a problem. And that's not the level of intention that we're going to need in order to become strategic in how we move as a community, which is why as a collective, some of our best and brightest, we're literally just spinning the wheels. We're literally just spinning the wheels. And that is my deepest analysis. We're consistently doing the same thing, expecting different results. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. So why do we continue to use them? First black this, first black that. What does that mean? African, you were here since the beginning of time. You've already been doing the most absolute amazing things in life in general already. So why is it that you need to get a tag, right? And this is our people who continue to push this narrative of learned helplessness. So being that I freed myself from that reality, I get that bitch thinks she all that. I get don't guard it, block. That's what I get. Because I've done this work. It's been punishment for me to do this work, and I've shared this work, and I've shared the protocol, and I've shared the process. But guess what? It's programming. It's reprogramming of your mind. And so many of us don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to do an honest assessment of our deficits. An honest assessment of our deficits. And let me tell you something, family. So many of us, I don't care how many bells, whistles, clapping ups, and drippers and social capital they have truckloads of deficits in the ways that matter. In the ways that matter, that will be supportive of us as an African people. And this is clear with our environment. Because if we were creating great things in terms of African metrics, not in terms of being a well-behaved pet in the master's house, that's not the same. So when I say I've done the work on myself and I can see out into the universe who hasn't done the work, and I'm not judging, I'm just being me. And it's very clearly something different about me than it is about those people or those people. And they bar and guard against that, and they claim they don't understand it. So that lets me know that if you don't understand what you are seeing, then how can you say you are a representative of liberation for African people and decolonizing African minds? It's bizarre. You have to do that self-work, making yourself the greatest asset to the whole. Sawubona African, and namaste the divine in me honors and respect the divine in you. Do your work. I got you. Check in. Peace.